Hey guys, I hope you had an opportunity to watch the other 3 limit videos. In this video, I'm going to do 6 examples in under 3 minutes. It will show you basically all the ways to do the limits algebraically. So, in the first example, or actually in all of these examples, you should start with a direct substitution. Hopefully it'll give you a numerical value. So in this case here, when I go to plug in the number 1, the limit as t approaches 1, 6t squared minus 4 over t plus 1, which you'll notice is when you plug in 1 for the t, you're going to get 2 in the numerator and 2 in the denominator. 2 over 2 is 1. That means when you graph this problem here, once you graph this problem here and you go to the t equals 1, then it's going to be approaching the y value of 1. Let's just say we're talking about t and y. Okay, so I hate actually plugging in the 1 here and here because when I think of limits, I think about what happens when I get very, very close to 1, but not actually at 1. So 0.999 or 1.0001. Okay, let's try the second one. In the second problem, you still start the same way. You use direct substitution. First, you plug in the negative 5. Negative 5 squared is positive 25. Minus 25 is 0. In the denominator, you're going to plug in negative 5 again, and you're also going to get 0 because 25 minus 10 minus 15 will give you 0. Anytime you get 0 over 0, you have to do one of 3 things. First, see if you can factor it. In this case, it's factorable. So I'm going to go t minus 5, t plus 5 for the difference of perfect squares. In the denominator, I'm going to go t and t. I'm going to say, hey, my last sign is a negative. If my last sign is a negative, I have no option but a plus and a minus because you have to say to yourself what multiplies to give you a negative. The options for 15 are 1 and 15 and 3 and 5. Which 2 of these values subtract to a positive 2? 3 and 5. The bigger number, which is 5, takes the middle sign. So that's 5 and 3. Great. I hope everybody knows how to factor by now. Boom, boom. You get t minus 5 over t minus 3. That's what that reduces to. And then you go back. Remember, limit's going to be like a y value. It's going to be a numerical value. Plug in the negative 5. And in the numerator, you get negative 10. In the denominator, you get negative 8. And then you can reduce this by letting 2 go into both parts, and you get 5/4. Okay? So that's how we do that one. So the first step is to direct substitute. Hopefully you don't get 0 over 0, but if you get 0 over 0, see if you could factor it. In the next problem, you do direct substitution. You're going to get, let's get a different color, you're going to get 0 over 0 again. So in this case, I'm working with radicals. I can't factor this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to multiply it by the conjugate. I hope you guys remember this from the last video. So plus 2 plus 2. Now remember, you don't ever multiply the this part here and this part here. You only multiply out the conjugates. So I'm just going to write this side by side, okay? Square root of x plus 2. And then you're going to multiply out the conjugates. And if you guys remember from the last video, conjugates are really easy to distribute or multiply. So all you got to do is take this guy and square him. That's x. Always put a minus no matter what. And then take this guy and square him. That's going to be 4. Or you can go this times this, this times this, this times this, this times this, and then clean it up. But so once we do that, we see x minus 4 cancel out. You're left with the 1 in the numerator. You plug in the 4, and the square root of 4 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4, so your answer is going to be 1/4. Let's try this one. You get 0 over 0 again. Okay, you guys can pause the video, make sure that you understand how to get 0 over 0. Once that happens, you're going to multiply by the conjugate. Okay, so the conjugate of 3 minus radical x plus 9 is going to be 3 plus x plus 9. Square rooted. You're not going to distribute that guy out. Okay, and then remember, one more time, Square, square, square. Square him, that's 9. Always a minus. Square this guy, it's just going to be x plus 9, but because there's a minus, you got to make sure you put in parentheses. So that's 9 minus x minus 9. And what you're going to notice here is something beautiful. The 9 and the negative 9 cancel out, and you're left with this guy here, and then this guy down here. Well, the two x's cancel out, so let's cancel them out. I'm going to use gray here. So I'm left with, excuse me about this room, I'm going to be left with 3 plus radical x plus 9 all over negative 1. Resubstitute your 0. 0 plus 9 is 9. Square root of 9 is 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 divided by negative 1 is negative 6. So I hope that made sense. 2 more? Yes. Let's plug in the 3. You're going to get 0 over 0. I hope you guys can just see that it's going to be 0 over 0. Okay, pause the video and try it yourself. Now, if you remember from the last video, I showed you guys a really cool trick on how to combine fractions really fast. First, obviously you're going to need a common denominator, but I like to do crisscross tomato sauce. So it's going to be 1 times 3, okay, negative 1 times x, divided by x times 3. So I'm going to do Chris 1 times 3, cross, negative 1x, tomato sauce. Okay, so I go Chris, cross, tomato sauce. And if you didn't watch the last video, that's a cool way on how to combine fractions really fast, okay? Now that's going to be divided by this guy in the bottom. So what you could do is you could do keep, change, flip, which is going to be basically keep, change, flip, and then the x minus 3 would be on the bottom. So I'm going to go 3 minus 1x over 3x times 1 over x minus 3. You guys notice that these two look exactly the same, but they're in reverse order. So to compensate, I'm going to have to multiply this by negative 1. Plug the 3 back in, and you are going to get negative 1 over 9. And the final problem here, you guys can pause the video and try it yourself, but we're going to do crisscross tomato sauce. Okay, so Chris, 1x, cross, positive 4, tomato sauce, 4x. So Chris, cross, tomato sauce. And all I got to do is just put this guy right here. Always put your parentheses. Okay? And then you're going to see how this cancels out with him. You're left with the 1 on top. Plug in the negative 4. Remember, you need it to be a number. And that's how you do that. All right? Leave a comment. Ask any questions you would like. And I hope this was helpful.